Hey, welcome to Anytime Yoga. And today's session is one that you're going to be able to practice over and over again to keep you fit, healthy, and toned. It's all inclusive of your body, your mind, and your spirit. So grab your mat and get on it. So let's begin the practice by coming to a seated position, one that is comfortable for you. It could be that you are cross-legged. It could be that you are even sitting in a chair to begin with. It could be that you have a wall behind you to keep your spine straight. You might like to have one heel in towards your perineum and then the next heel in front of that, drawing yourself into a position that first and foremost you will be able to connect with your breath. If you close your eyes, you can get a much closer view of your flow of breath. You will notice that as soon as you become observant of your cycle of breathing, it will instantly start to lengthen and deepen. And this in itself very good for nurturing and nourishing your nervous system and the deeper parasympathetic nervous system. A long deep breathing also aids in the heart not working overly so, allowing the beats per minute to be more rested. Take time to tune in. This is your special time that you are giving to yourself to release the stress, the pressure of this modern daily life we all face. This is precious time for maintenance, self-maintenance, keeping your skeletal frame active, aligned, mobile, keeping your muscles and tendons working as nature intended, and keeping your flesh, your skin, toned. Watch the rise and fall of your chest. Be aware of your lungs inflating and deflating. Scan your body for any pockets of tension you may be holding on to and that you can release and let go of, especially through the outward bound breath. And focus on getting some elevation and some lift when you breathe in, creating space, especially internally, so that all organs that rest within the trunk of the body are given the same possibilities to draw in the oxygen. It's oxygen that keeps you alive, healthy, keeps the renewal of your atoms and cells and molecules. So it's very important, first and foremost, to have good breathing, bringing in oxygen, and then it's also very important to allow space for the oxygen to move around and feed all parts. Take a nice deep breath in lift through the trunk of your body. Make yourself as tall as you can in your seated position. And then very gently, you're going to hinge forward at the hips. Take another breath in and pick those hips up away from your femur bones. You'll be able to do this even if you are sitting in a chair with your soles of feet flat on the ground, your shins perpendicular. And if you are indeed cross-legged, then you can simply walk those hands forward. Every time you breathe in, you're creating space, ensuring that your sit bones are connected with either the chair beneath you or the ground beneath you, the earth, your yoga mat. Take your time. There is no rush. If you take your time, you will be able to consciously control. You will be able to view deep levels of the self. You will be able to pinpoint any pockets of tension or stress within your body, and then you can work on softening them and letting them go, especially through the outbound breath. Indeed, scan the body. Recognise if you are gritting your teeth, and relax your jawline. Whether you might have your shoulders pulled up to your ears, and you can just breathe out and soften them and let them drop downward. Are you pulling tension in your hips and your knees are coming up because you're so tense in the hips and the pelvis? Can you just breathe into this area, breathe out and soften? And it's okay if you're still all the way up here and you feel like that you can't get that forward lean. It will come. The body will let go. It just takes time. Yoga is not a quick fix. All of us humans love a quick fix. We want everything right now. Yoga teaches you to stay observant and aware of the workings of your body and your mind. Always. Every day. Every month. Every year. Every decade. You might like to soften around the back of the neck now and allow the head to drop forward. Still watching, checking that your skin on your face is nice and relaxed, as is your jawline, your neck, your throat. Experience the stretch taking place in your spinal cord. It's very subtle, but it's occurring. And then you'll breathe in, pull the tummy in to support your spine, and walk your hands back in towards your feet, your knees, your thighs. And then you might like to uncross the legs and recross in the opposite direction. Take your time to make any adjustments and adapt to readiness for the next position, where you'll take a breath in, rise up through the trunk of the body, bring the hands round behind you, and again, if you're sitting in a chair, you can still do this. You can just take the hands to either side of the chair near your hips, and then you're going to breathe in and you're going to begin to rise up through your torso, You're going to open the chest by taking the shoulders back and bringing the shoulder blades towards each other. Continue with raising the chin and the eyes up toward the ceiling, dropping the head back. And then breathe. Breathe long and deep in this position. You might be surprised just how much extra your chest can open and your lungs can inflate. When you take a breath in, at the fullness of that breath, just take another sip of air in. You can increase your lung capacity by doing this. And a nice long breath out. Emptying the lungs completely. You can clean the lining of the lungs by doing this. And then bring your chin back to a neutral parallel position with the earth or with your thighs. Increase capacity of the lungs together with a clean lining of the walls of the lungs will develop greater immunity. Very beneficial in this modern world. Let's bend our spine laterally now. We've just done a forward flexion, a backward flexion. Now let's go lateral, sideways. So bring your hand to rest just left of your left leg. Again, if you're sitting in a chair, you can just place the hand on the left side of the chair. Keep both sitting bones equally pressed into whatever is beneath you. And then you'll breathe in and you'll stretch up through the right arm, and the stretch actually starts from the right hip. So you're lifting in this lower area first. When you start the movement from the origin, that gives so much more potential for everything above to follow suit and to be included into the movement. So we breathe in, we stretch and we reach up, and then we flex over to the left. You can walk that left hand out nice and slowly as you progress through your lateral flexion. Keep thinking about drawing the belly button in, back and down towards the base of the spine. This will increase strength in your lower back. It will develop a more stable positioning in the lower spine. You might find you can get to the point where you bring your left elbow down towards the mat. Ensure that your right sit bone still connects with the floor, the mat, the chair. If you find that it's rising up, that means you're going too far, and you should just come back into the move a little further, back to the beginnings of the movement. There's no call for the ego here. You're not in a race against anyone else. You're not even in a race against yourself. Yoga asks that you be kind to yourself. And if you're on your own practicing, then it's okay if you're all the way up here. If you consistently observe your breath, you'll be able to acknowledge that every time you breathe in, you create more space, and then all of a sudden, the breath out will take you into that space. And staying with your awareness and your observations, have a think about your head and neck and whether it's a natural extension of your spine. Have you dropped it down? Are you looking down too much? Are you holding it up and getting creases in the back of your neck? Or can you get it in that nice lateral curve that's consistent with the direction of your spine. And you'll tend to know if you're correct or not with your right ear being in line with your inner right arm, almost brushing upon it. You could also use a wall behind you and check. You could really rest against the wall, and that will give you an indicator as to whether you are fully aligned. And then you'll come back up to that central position, preparing to go in the opposite direction. So bring your right hand beside you. Think about the left hip. Take a breath in and lift the flesh around the left hip up. Lift the left hip itself up and away from your femur bone. The hip is a ball and socket joint, so the femur bone here going into the hip, there's a ball, and then the hip itself sits on here, and then if you lift that up, you'll be able to move it more freely with more suppleness and flexibility. So you've created space as you breathe in, and then as you breathe out, you're gently going to stretch over to the right. Take your time. Do that scan around the body. See if you're holding your knees right up here, if you're really stiff in your hips, and if you can just let them relax out. Allow the knees to relax down toward the mat. Remember, the breath and the movement are one and the same thing. They work together harmoniously, in unity. So if you just take the time to follow the breath, to feel the motion, experience fully. Ensure that your left sit bone is connected with the mat, same as the right sit bone. If you find that you're rising up like this, then you've obviously gone a bit too far. It's all about sending the body messages from the mind. So even though you're leaning to the right, still push energy to the left and down. Energy to the left side of the body, the left hip, the left buttock, the left thigh. Unclench your teeth. Breathe in through the nose. Be aware of your lungs inflating and then deflating. And then pulling the tummy in, coming back to an upright, neutral position. You might like to give yourself a little bit of a wiggle, just loosening and freeing up the whole of the torso and the spine. So we've done forward flexion, a mini backward flexion, lateral flexion. Now let's do a twist of the spine. It's quite a regular occurrence through the videos here on my channel, so hopefully if you're following them by now, you'll know that you have 33 bones in the spinal cord. Some of us have 34. Just a little anomaly there, right down in the coccygeal region. Let's bring our right hand outside of our left thigh. Let's breathe in, rise up through the trunk of the body. Take our left hand to the outer left hip. And then we'll begin to rotate. Again, we're going to take our time because we are acknowledging that we're creating space when we breathe in. We're then rotating when we breathe out. And we want to start at the base of the spine, the coccygeal region. The bones there are flat and fused together, but you can start the twist. You can tell the flesh down here around the hips, the tummy, the midriff. You can tell it to start turning. You can even use your hands on your skin, give it a little move. You might be surprised how much further you then are able to rotate. And as you're rotating to the left, you're thinking about the flesh on the right side of the body moving round towards the belly button, and then the flesh from the belly button and the left hand side of the body moving, continuing in that anti-clockwise direction. It will be your head and neck that turn last. Ensure the teeth are unclenched and the jawline is soft and relaxed, and let those shoulders drop down. All checkpoints that continually arise that you will do well to just keep observing and rectifying if indeed you're pulling tension into any of the areas. And then we come back to centre. Let's move to the other side. Left hand comes outside of right thigh. Right hand rests just right of hip. And again, if you're sitting in a chair, that's fine. If your thighs are parallel and then your shins perpendicular and your soles of your feet on the floor, you can quite easily join in and do this twist of the spinal cord. When you breathe in, lift the tummy internally. As you exhale, you're going to start rotating clockwise through the spine from the bottom, the coccygeal area, through the sacrum, then the lumbar, dorsal area, the thoracic spine. The thoracic spine is this mid part here at the back of you, and it's called the thoracic part because it actually connects to your thorax and your rib cage. And then rotating clockwise through the cervical spine, getting to the upper back now. And once more, head and neck are the last to turn. Keep rising up with every breath in. And maintain that lift as you come back to neutral. Avoid immediately slumping. You don't want to introduce too many bad habits to the body. Perhaps you've done this for years. Allowed bad habits to form, bad posture to become the normal. You're going to reverse all of this now with the help of yoga. And indeed, any part of that you practice, you will achieve increased levels of health and well-being for certain. Okay, so let's now take our left leg out to the side, and we're going to stretch and extend that left leg out. If you're in a chair, you might want to come down onto the floor now. You'll be a little bit further warmed up, so it might be comfortable enough for you to come down to the floor. So with our left leg extended out to the side, we don't want to take it too far out and find that we've got this big gap under the knee. So keep your leg at a level where it is comfortably resting on the floor. Use your right hand, gentle pressure on your right inner thigh and your left hand just outside of the left thigh so that you can turn the trunk of your body. You want to draw your right shoulder forward and take your left shoulder back. Again, observing that both shoulders are level. We're going to go into a forward flexion, a forward bend, whereby we're going to aim to reach the toes of our left foot. But we want to make sure that the trunk of our body remains in alignment. So you're going to be looking for faults such as leaning to one side too much, holding one shoulder higher than another. If the ego wants to get ahead of itself and wants you to reach right down your toes, but it's making you do this, then it really is better for you to just come back to a lower stage of the position and work there. It really will benefit more in the long run. You can also use a belt or a strap here that will assist. It will act as a bridge so that you could put the belt underneath the ball of the left foot, and from a nice risen position through the torso, you'll be able to just take those elbows out to the side and it will help you flex forwards. Again, the origin of the forward bend with one leg extended is in the hips, the pelvic girdle. So when you breathe in, this all rises up, it lifts. You can adjust and adapt your position. The greatest thing about yoga is that you can tailor make your practice to fit, fundamentally, your skeletal frame. Because it's from that deepest area, the skeleton, that we are working first and foremost. If you get your alignment right, all the joints of the body will work, and the muscles, tendons, ligaments, skin will follow suit and will increase in strength and development of shape and tone along the way. It's the skeleton first and foremost. So you've got yourself nice and aligned, you've taken the time to observe and feel if you're correct, and then again through the breath, creating space through inhalation. Releasing and surrendering through exhalation. And when you're looking toward aiming to get the hands around the foot, try bringing the toes back towards the trunk of the body. If your toes are pointing away from you, that's actually giving you further to reach. So get a nice stretch and extension fully through the whole of the legs, front and back, upper, lower, and get those toes coming back to you. And get your little toe coming back in line with your big toe, which will mean adjusting in your ankle, adjusting the instep and the outer edge of the foot. Take your time. Experience it. You are your own project. A project of maintenance, keeping up good health and well-being, nice balance of all the systems of the body, systems like the digestive system, nervous system, muscular system. You know, it's good to research the self as well. Maybe look at diagrams of the skeletal frame, get to know what the bones of your body are called. It's very interesting. And the better you know yourself and begin to understand how you work, from skeleton to all other functions, but then you'll be able to better understand another human being, your fellow human beings. When you're ready, you pull the stomach in, supporting, developing strength in the spine, coming back to that upright position. And then swap. And it's good to take your time in a posture, because it's only through time that you begin to see, acknowledge, understand. So again, at the beginning, you might like to adjust and adapt. Get both sit bones connected. Get that right leg in a position of comfort. There's no big gap under the knee between the back of the leg and the floor. It needs to rest. You want your shin, your knee, your thigh, all drawing up towards the ceiling. And you want to create that space in the hips and lift the tummy internally. And activate and engage the flesh on the torso. Tell it all to lift up. If it all lifts up and rises, it will all then move. All parts of the body aiding and assisting the movement into the posture and then the holding thereof. So again here, when you get to a position of comfort, and that might even be that you've just got your hands on your upper thigh and you're learning how to align your shoulders and you're looking at the face, relaxing the teeth. You don't want to put your hands on the knee joint, no pressure on the knee joint, so you'll either be resting on the thigh, on the shin, at the ankle, or you might be using your belt or strap behind the ball of the foot, taking those elbows out to the side. Relaxing in the back of the neck so that the head and neck are a natural extension of the spine. If you're holding the head up and you've got the chin parallel to the mat, you're making creases in the back of the neck that are unnecessary at the moment. They probably would cause tension in the upper shoulders. So just soften. There's no need to let the head drop too low at the moment. The head will drop in line with the body. And then you get to that place of comfortable awareness in the posture. And you breathe. And you watch. You might even close your eyes and observe inwardly. And then with control and grace, you come out of the position. So you might like to extend both legs forward now and give them a little bit of a shake. And then you'll come to bring both legs out. Again, they open to a point of comfort. If you've opened them too far and you've got this going on, then just close them down a little. Both sit bones aligned on the mat, both firmly planted, drawing up through the sides of the body, raising up, lifting internally, externally. Relax the shoulders down. There's no collapse happening in the stomach. You're simply messaging the skin to activate, engage, get lively. And then you can walk your hands along your legs to a point where it's still comfortable for you. If it's here, that's great. You just want to be working on the breath and lifting with breathing in, surrendering with breathing out. And that forward flexion we've been doing throughout the previous movements, bringing that into play until you get to the point where you are able to reach the feet. But it doesn't matter if this is your position. It could be for a few weeks or months, and then maybe after a year you find yourself a bit lower, and then after even more continued practice and dedication, you might be able to get even lower. Remember, it's not a quick fix, but it is very beneficial, because once you build on this flexibility and suppleness, strength occurs, new potential for just infinite amount of things you'll be able to do. You'll find new skills that you never knew you had. And it's all because you've just tuned into yourself. As you rise up, pull the tummy in, secure the spine, coming back to a central position. Coming back to a cross-legged motion. Rest the hands either on the knees, or you can even just rest the hands over the knees. Close the eyes and become aware of how you feel throughout the whole of your body, the space you have made, the amount you have allowed for new openings within the skeletal frame. Breathe. So let's now continue with stretching, lengthening, toning and strengthening the legs. Let's bring the feet in front of us, bring them together, bring the knees together, bring your hands either side of your hips. Very gently, you're just going to roll those knees side to side. We're just loosening in the hips first and foremost to help progress us and prepare us for the next movement. Keep your knees together as you do this. If your knees are separating, then you're not actually using the deep abdominal muscles that you could be utilizing here. And then come back to a central position. Now, if you do have any knee complaints, knee injuries, then you might just want to watch through this part of the video first before attempting, if at all, because we're going to go into half hero posture and then extend one of our legs. So it might be that the half hero is not for you. But you could start at the very base of the position, which I'm going to show next, and that could possibly give some aid to strengthening the knees if you do have difficulties in that area. But it's for you to make up your mind, and it's for you to possibly join in and practice, but be kind to the self. Release the ego and just be very observant and feel your way. You'll know if it's right or not. So we're going to take 2 fingers from the right hand. We're just going to open our left leg out slightly, and we're going to take those 2 fingers from the right hand outside of the left knee, and we're actually going to just get in there to underneath the knee, and we're going to pull the flesh out, so we're creating space. We take our left hand on our left calf muscle, that nice fleshy calf muscle that we've got, and we're going to rotate that outwards. So we're actually taking both parts in opposite directions, like that, okay? So 2 fingers of the right hand underneath that left knee, pulling that back and opening it. Left hand, left calf muscle, rounding that fleshy part of the leg outwards, okay? And then once we've done that, we will turn the left foot back upon itself and draw it in as close to the left heel as we can. and then your right foot just rests beside the left knee. Now, take this time to adapt and adjust. Ensure it feels comfortable for you. It won't feel comfortable for everyone at first either. If you've been having a very sedentary lifestyle, getting into this part of the position could take a long while. Have patience. Avoid giving up immediately. We all have to start somewhere. You could even utilise a nice soft cushion to put under that knee to raise it up a little in the first instance to help. Or you might even find that putting a cushion underneath your buttocks and your sit bones will help. Maybe use a block so that it raises your buttocks up so that there's no strain on the left leg. Remember, you can tailor-make your practice to fit your skeletal frame. If you've got your belt or strap to hand, this is where it's going to come into play. You will put the belt underneath the ball of the right foot and you will rise up through the trunk of the body. Breathing in and breathing out for a couple of rounds so that you've given yourself time to settle in to this position. And then when you breathe in, you'll then pick the heel of the right foot off the floor, and nice and slowly to the exhalation, you'll start to stretch and straighten that leg. It doesn't matter to begin with if the leg does not straighten fully. It's to be expected if you're in the process of gaining back some of the suppleness and flexibility that you had as a child. So take it easy on yourself. If this is the position that you practice in for a good few days, weeks, months, then so be it. Again, the wisdom comes with the breath. Breathe in, create space. Breathe out, relax, let go, surrender. Unclench the teeth. Think about having the chin parallel with the mats, the floor. In time, you'll be able to walk your hands along that belt so that you may capture the foot, capture the toes, or around the heel of the foot. Tune in. Tune into the triangle shape that you're making with the leg, the trunk of the body, and the arms. I think it's like an isosceles. I think that's the type of triangle we're on about here. I may be wrong. Maths was never my strong point, but there's definitely a triangular shape. Tune into that. The power of the triangle, the 3 points, is something to draw into your being. Again, the breath will guide you. When you're ready to come out, release one of the hands to hold on to that hamstring, to take care of it as you bend that knee and bring the foot back down to position on the mat. And then we'll go on the other side. So we shall start this time with 2 fingers of the left hand going underneath that right knee at the back there and just drawing the flesh out. So it's an anti-clockwise move. And then with your right hand on your right calf muscle, you roll that out anti-clockwise too. You're pulling them away from each other. And then you will draw that right shin to rest onto the mat, the earth, the floor, front of right foot. For some of us as well, to begin with, when the position is made like this, it can be quite hard on the foot, on the front of the foot, which may cause tension, may cause you to really pull inwards. Let go, relax. Put something nice and soft under the front of the foot. A bit of foam even, a cushion, a lovely soft rug. Make it comfortable. And then bring your left foot, the sole of the foot, to rest on the mat, and the left foot is aligned with the right knee. Use your belt or strap here. Get it just underneath the ball of the foot. Draw up through the back of the spine. Rise up, chin parallel with the mat, teeth unclenched, and then begin to pick that foot up. Follow your breath. It will guide you. It will let you know when the backs of your leg, the hamstring, the gastrocnemius, it will let you know when they are ready to surrender a little further, a little deeper. And sometimes these positions can take years to achieve, but achieve them you will. If you have patience, perseverance, and you put in the practice, it's entirely up to you. In time you can walk the hands along the belt to capture the foot or the heel of the foot. Connect with the triangle shape that you're making. Importantly, breathe. Check the shoulders. If you're holding them up by your ears, can you relax them down? Can you push the heart space forward? Draw those shoulder blades back towards each other a bit further. And when you're ready, you release one hand to just clasp around that hamstring. Protect it as you slowly bend the leg and bring it back. You might want to put both legs out in front of you and give them a little shake. And then bring yourself round onto your knees. And place the palm of one hand atop the other. Close the eyes. This is the pose of contemplation, giving you time to reflect, to experience how you feel, both internally and externally. A couple of nice long deep breaths in and out here. And then gently release. Now take yourself to lay flat on your back in the supine position that is known as the restorative pose, Savasana. This is where we'll end the session, and this is where you literally just lay out and do absolutely nothing at all. It's those last moments of your precious time that you've given to yourself for a bit of recuperation, a time to revitalise, to nourish, and laying flat on your back doing absolutely nothing at all is going to give time for all those messages that you've been sending to your body through this session. It's going to give time for the cells to draw in, to imbibe the information and to act upon it. So bring yourself down to rest comfortably on your back. Just allow the feet to be hip width apart and let the toes drop out from each other. Let the arms roll away from the sides of the body. Allow the backs of the hands, the knuckles, to rest onto the mat. The fingers curl naturally and allow there to be space between the fingers. Soft flesh in the palms of the hands. Draw your chin down towards your chest so that you lengthen the back of the neck and rest centrally on the back of the skull. And let go. Just watch your flow of breath here. That's it. That's all you need to do. If the mind is chattering or wandering, just pull focus and watch your breath. And ensure that with every exhalation, you surrender the weight of your body into the earth beneath you. With every inhalation, you draw in new breath, new oxygen, new life. Stay here as long as you wish. It will bring a new vitality to your whole system, nourishing every single living cell that makes up you. And if you're ready to come out of the position, just bend your knees, roll them over onto your side, bring yourself into a fetal-like position momentarily, and then come back up, cross-legged. A final stretch up through the trunk of the body. Feel lifted, re-energized, and ready for the rest of your day ahead. Yoga can be practiced anytime, almost anywhere, and it can be practiced by everyone for the good of all. See you tomorrow.